Today is Monday, December 15th. It is currently 10:04 a.m. and I'm going to be walking over the trade that I took today. So, last night, I was looking at the market, basically kind of just saying, um, yeah, as of last night, we'll just go on the 15-minute. As of last night, we were only here, a little bit Asian session when I was looking at it, and we have this massive hourly gap right here. So, and that's on both indexes as well. So basically, kind of what my thought process going into that is just going to be, okay, there's two things we can do. We can come in, fill this gap up, and then target these lows, or we can just fully inverse that gap and then target these highs today. And what we ended up doing was filling in the gap, sweeping out these highs on both indexes, and then after we filled in the gap, we went down. And that was kind of my bias. I was not really looking for longs today, mainly because we were in this gap and all I want would have been shorts out of it. So, oh geez, I just ate, so I'm like burping and stuff, but whatever. Yeah, so basically that's kind of all I wanted was shorts, and that's mainly because we were in this hourly gap. So coming into market open, looking for mainly only shorts, unless for some reason we were able to completely inverse this gap. But yeah, coming into market open, I see higher time frame market structure is consolidation of Asian session, and then manipulation on London session, and then obviously from there we want a reversal extension, and obviously that's exactly what we got. So that was great. And then if we look closer to, we do have some consolidation here. I'll just mark it out, consolidation, and then we have our manipulation, and then obviously our extension downwards. Okay, it's not letting me. All right, that's wonderful. Anyways, whatever, extension downwards. You get the point. So then basically what I'm looking at right off the market open is just some decent market structure to the downside, and that is kind of what we get right away. So right away, we kind of have a sweep of these highs. I know it's a little bit before pre-market, but I would still consider this a decent valid sweep. And then you can see that we make a fair value gap, take out these lows. Obviously, we're looking like we're going downward. I mean, we're having some fat bullish candles or fat bearish candles to the downside. So obviously, I'm favoring bearish, and that also goes along with my daily bias for the day. And then right away, we form this gap on both indexes, and we fill it right away on both indexes. And then we have this inverse gap. We did not have one on NASDAQ, but we did have one on ES. We have an inverse gap right here. Well, we had a fair value gap, and then that gap got inverse. Could have entered off of this. In my opinion, I didn't want to because it's 8:34, and that's just a little too early for me to enter into a trade. But after that, we form this fair value gap, and then we have our down candle, and then we have an up candle, another up candle. This is filling in this gap, and then I put on just like my equilibrium marker, basically, just to see when we're going to be out of equilibrium. And I entered off of this bearish candle out of equilibrium. I was a little slow to my trade locker, so I ended up getting filled around like right here, which isn't bad, but it just kind of sucks. I mean, that would have, the risk to reward would have been like a decent amount better, would have been like at least another $100 on the P&L. So, I mean, it's whatever. Just need to be better at it next time. It honestly kind of came like really fast. I mean, this was the one where I didn't want to enter, and then 4 minutes later, I'm entering in a trade because we got much better confluences, and our conditions were holding. Our conditions basically were bearish, and then to back up those conditions, we had a fair value gap get filled, we had an inverse gap, and then we had another fair value gap get filled, and then we had a close out of equilibrium. So that was pretty much, what the heck is this? Oh, that's a fair value gap, sorry. I was like, what is that? But yeah, so that our conditions were fully holding, and overall my bias for the day was bearish, and clearly that is what played out. Yes, we could have targeted these lows, but would it have been a lower probability trade? Yes. And I was completely content with London lows, but we definitely could have targeted these and or just, taking partials, stuff like that. But we had a completely good trade today, and I am super excited about how I took it. Here, I'm just bringing up my trade locker. Let's see. Yeah, so if you look at close positions for the day, that was the P&L. It was 306, and then that was risking 300. So that's just basically a 1-to-1. Trade locker was a little bit off. When we were like here, it said we were already like at these lows. So, I mean, it's whatever. But yeah, overall, very happy about today. We had some very good price action. It felt very like flowy, and I didn't hesitate at all when taking this trade, and I'm very proud of that. I'm overall just super proud of how I traded and super happy with the outcome. But yeah, I'm excited to see what tomorrow brings. If we look at NASDAQ was kind of doing the same exact thing, just giving us condition that we were going to move lower. We just found a better entry on ES mainly because we were closer to these lows, and we got to take the higher probability trade. So it's exactly what we did, and it played out very well. But yeah, I think that's all for the day. Yeah, wonderful trade, did very well, followed all my rules, and overall bias is correct. So yeah, I appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.